A dangerous multi-day severe weather setup is taking shape across the central United States. And if you live anywhere from Texas to the Ohio Valley, the next 72 hours are going to demand your full attention. This is not your typical springtime severe weather event. We are looking at a complex atmospheric pattern that's going to bring everything from significant tornado potential to rare May snowfall in the Rockies. The timeline stretches from Tuesday all the way through Thursday, with each day presenting its own unique set of challenges and hazards. So let's get right into the forecast. Here is what is unfolding. The Storm Prediction Center has outlined a slight risk of severe weather for Tuesday, covering a broad swath from North Texas northeast through Arkansas and into portions of Tennessee. If you are in Dallas, Fort Worth, Little Rock, Memphis, or areas near Fort Smith, you are directly in the crosshairs. The marginal risk extends further, reaching from southern Indiana all the way back into central Texas. What makes today particularly concerning is the combination of atmospheric ingredients coming together. We are dealing with strong wind shear, ample moisture streaming north from the Gulf of Mexico, and a potent upper-level disturbance that's going to provide the lift needed to fire up supercell thunderstorms. The primary threats for Tuesday include damaging wind gusts reaching 50 to 70 miles per hour. These winds are strong enough to down trees, damage roofs, and cause widespread power outages. If you have not already secured outdoor furniture or moved vehicles into garages, now is the time to do that. Large hail is also a major concern, particularly across portions of Arkansas and the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. We are not talking about pea-sized hail here. Some of these supercells have the potential to produce baseball-sized hailstones, which can shatter windshields, dent vehicles, and destroy crops. And then there is the tornado threat. Northern New England faces a low tornado risk, which is unusual for May in that region. But the more significant tornado corridor is going to set up from northeast Texas near Greenville, extending northeast through Little Rock and into the Memphis area. The highest tornado potential appears to be focused just north of Little Rock, near Jonesboro and west of Memphis, where any discrete supercells that develop along the warm front could produce strong, long-track tornadoes. As we transition into Wednesday, the severe weather threat is not going away. In fact, it is shifting south and east. The Storm Prediction Center has highlighted a slight risk from central Texas all the way into Alabama and Georgia. This includes areas that have not seen significant severe weather recently. So if you live in the Dixie Alley, you need to be prepared. There is a good chance that an enhanced risk could be added for areas around Jackson, Mississippi, and Shreveport, Louisiana, where the potential for very large hail and tornadoes looks particularly elevated. The main hazards on Wednesday will be damaging winds and large to very large hail. The corridor from just south of Dallas through Shreveport and along the Interstate 20 corridor south of Memphis is where you need to be most weather aware. The tornado threat on Wednesday is conditional and depends heavily on storm mode. If storms can remain discrete and not immediately cluster into a linear system, central and southern Mississippi could see a heightened risk of strong tornadoes. The atmospheric environment is going to be primed for tornadic supercells, but whether that potential is realized comes down to mesoscale details that we will be monitoring closely throughout the day. Why is all of this happening? Let us talk about the atmospheric pattern driving this multi-day event. A strong upper-level trough is digging into the central United States, bringing with it enhanced wind shear and lift. At the surface, a cold front is going to be draped from the Ohio Valley down through Arkansas and into Texas. Ahead of this front, warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico is surging northward, creating a volatile air mass. The position of the jet stream is critical here. It is positioned in such a way that it is going to provide strong upper-level support for storm development, while at the surface, a warm front will serve as a focal point for rotating supercells. This combination of upper-level dynamics and low-level moisture convergence is textbook severe weather setup. What makes this event particularly noteworthy is the duration. This is not a one-and-done scenario. The slow-moving nature of the upper trough means we are going to see repeated rounds of storms over multiple days. each with the potential to produce significant severe weather. Let me walk you through the timing so you can plan your day accordingly. Tuesday morning is starting with scattered showers and thunderstorms along the Mississippi River Valley. This early convection is actually beneficial because it is stabilizing the atmosphere across Arkansas. If these storms persist through lunchtime, they might suppress some of the supercell development later in the afternoon. However, the atmosphere is going to rebound quickly. By 4 to 5 p.m., we expect an initial supercell to fire in northern Arkansas, likely east of Fayetteville, moving toward Mountain Home. This storm is going to ride along the warm frontal boundary and will have the potential to produce large hail and possibly a tornado. As we move into the 6 to 7 p.m. timeframe, storm coverage is going to increase. Multiple discrete supercells are expected to develop, particularly near the warm front in northern Arkansas. These storms will pose an elevated risk of strong tornadoes, especially if they can remain isolated and not merge into a cluster. Further south near Dallas-Fort Worth, convective initiation is going to be delayed. A cap or lid on the atmosphere is going to suppress storm development during the afternoon hours. The better chance for severe weather in North Texas is going to be around and just after sunset. By 9 p.m., storms will begin firing along a cold frontal boundary from Little Rock back into Dallas. Model guidance shows multiple supercells with heightened hail potential, particularly near Paris, Texas. Back over in Arkansas, discrete supercells will continue through 9 to 10 p.m. near Jonesboro, but they will eventually be overtaken by a cluster of thunderstorms moving east toward the Mississippi River Valley. As storms transition into a linear mode, the tornado and hail threat will decrease, but the damaging wind threat will increase. By 11 p.m., these storms will be impacting areas from Florence, Alabama, to Tupelo and Clarksdale, Mississippi, producing isolated damaging winds and a low tornado threat. Wednesday morning will start with scattered thunderstorms across Tennessee, northern Georgia, northern Mississippi, and Alabama. These storms will be capable of producing marginal hail and winds, but the tornado threat should remain low through about 2 p.m. By 3 to 4 p.m., supercells will start to organize near the warm frontal boundary over Memphis and Huntsville. This is when the severe weather threat begins to ramp up again. By 5 to 6 p.m., the focus shifts south. Supercells are expected to develop just south of the interstate corridor, south of Shreveport, and south of Jackson. If these storms can stay discrete, they are going to rotate and could produce strong tornadoes. If you live in central Louisiana or southern Mississippi, Wednesday afternoon into evening is your highest threat period. By 7 p.m., we will have multiple hazards occurring simultaneously across the region. Storms south of Dallas will be producing large hail and damaging winds. Storms east of Dallas could produce large hail and isolated tornadoes, and near Jackson, supercells will be capable of all hazards. Additionally, along the Tennessee-Alabama-Georgia border, a few supercells could develop with elevated risks of damaging winds and strong tornadoes. As we head into Wednesday evening, storms will begin to cluster together into a large line of thunderstorms. Discrete supercells may persist through 11 p.m. southwest of Birmingham, Alabama, continuing to produce large hail and damaging winds. During the overnight hours, the system will congeal into a squall line. Thursday will bring additional severe weather across the deep south, primarily damaging winds and large hail. The tornado risk on Thursday appears lower, though an isolated tornado threat cannot be ruled out from Lake Charles, Louisiana, to the Valdosta, Georgia area. Now, here is something you probably were not expecting in May. A significant winter storm is developing over the Rocky Mountains. While severe thunderstorms pummel the central United States, the high plains are going to see heavy snow. Eastern Colorado, including areas near Denver, could pick up 1 to 2 feet of snow in the higher elevations. Even lower elevations across eastern parts of Colorado could see a coating to a few inches. This is the same storm system responsible for the severe weather further east, and it is tapping into cold air aloft to produce this rare May snowfall. Western Kansas might even see some snow, and there is a possibility of rare snow flurries as far south as the Texas Panhandle late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. This is not something you see very often in May, but it happens from time to time when a strong upper trough digs far enough south. Looking beyond this immediate threat, the weekend is going to bring additional severe weather potential. Friday will feature an isolated risk of severe weather along the Gulf Coast from Texas into Florida, mainly isolated wind, hail, and a brief tornado threat. Saturday, a new storm system will begin to take shape over the Central Plains. There is still considerable uncertainty with this system. The European model is trending weaker, while the GFS model shows a more organized setup. Regardless, Saturday will likely bring an isolated to scattered risk of severe weather from central Iowa back into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Sunday, this system will shift into the Ohio Valley, potentially bringing severe weather from the Dixie Alley into the northeast. Right now, this looks like isolated severe weather, but things could change as we get closer. As we move into the middle of May, the severe weather pattern is going to evolve. We should start to see more mesoscale severe weather days. These are events where small-scale atmospheric features, rather than large synoptic low-pressure systems, drive storm development. This typically leads to more concentrated but potentially significant severe weather events across the Great Plains, Midwest, and Ohio Valley. If you live in these areas, severe weather has been relatively quiet recently, but that is about to change. To summarize, the next 3 days are going to be active across the central and southern United States. Tuesday brings the threat of supercells with large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes from North Texas through Arkansas and into Tennessee. Wednesday shifts the threat south into the Dixie Alley with a potentially heightened tornado risk across Mississippi and Louisiana. Thursday wraps up the event with a continued but diminishing severe weather threat across the Deep South. And do not forget about the snow in the Rockies. Make sure you have multiple ways to receive warnings, especially if you are in the enhanced or slight risk areas. I will have another forecast for you tomorrow with updated information as this event unfolds. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video.